Okay, let's talk about something we've all done. You're about to book a trip, and suddenly you're hours deep into reading online reviews. You tell yourself you're just being thorough, but what's really going on in your head? Well, it's a pretty fascinating psychological journey. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You start with just one or two reviews, and then, bam, 2 hours have vanished. You're scrolling through endless comments about everything from hotel breakfasts to the personality of a tour guide. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's pretty much a universal ritual for modern travel.
So on the surface, this all seems pretty simple. You're just trying to find a great spot and, avoid the duds. But underneath that, your brain is actually tackling a much bigger, more fundamental problem, and it's probably not what you think it is.
The real enemy here, the thing that drives this whole process, is uncertainty. I mean, booking a trip isn't like buying a new gadget you can hold in your hand. It's a leap of faith. You're buying an experience that hasn't even happened yet. Think about it this way. Economists have a term for this. They talk about search goods, right? Things like a laptop where you can compare all the specs side by side. But travel is what they call an experience good. You can't really know if it's good until you're there, living it. And that makes the decision feel so much bigger and way more risky. And that feeling, that knot in your stomach, it has a name: perceived risk. It's that special blend of anxiety you get when you can't predict the outcome, but you really, really care about what happens. This is the engine driving you to scroll through review after review. You're trying to make the unknown known. So how does our brain get from that feeling of anxiety to actually hitting the book button? Well, it turns out researchers have a pretty simple framework that maps out this whole mental trip. Let's walk through it. It's called the Stimulus Organism Response Model, or just SOR for short. Just think of it as a simple 3-step roadmap that shows how we get from seeing stuff online to making a final call. It's super straightforward. First up, you've got the stimulus. That's the tidal wave of online reviews you're wading through. All the good, the bad, and the ugly comments. Next, you have the organism. And yeah, that's you. It's all the internal stuff happening in your brain as you're processing that information, which in turn changes your level of that perceived risk we just talked about. And all of that leads to the final step, the response. This is the moment of truth. It's your actual behavior. Either you book that trip or you close the tab and walk away. And this isn't just some abstract theory. The research we're digging into here is based on a real study of almost 500 millennial travelers, a group that's constantly using social media to plan their trips. This SOR model really helps explain their behavior. Okay, now we get to the best part. This is where things get really interesting, because what this research found about risk is completely the opposite of what you'd expect. I mean, common sense would tell you one thing, right? If you read reviews that mention problems, a noisy street, slow Wi-Fi, whatever, that should increase your perceived risk and make you less likely to book. Simple. That's what I thought too. But nope, it's wrong. The study actually found something totally counterintuitive about how our brains deal with all this. Get this. The research found a significant positive link between that perceived risk and the intention to book a trip. Let me say that again. The more potential risks a traveler read about, the more likely they were to want to go. How wild is that? It's the exact opposite of what we all assume. So what on earth is going on? Well, it turns out that reading about potential problems isn't actually about avoidance at all. It's about preparation. When you read a review that says the best restaurant is a 15-minute walk away, you don't get scared off. You just think, okay, I'll pack comfy shoes. That information, even when it's about a negative, it transforms your anxiety into a feeling of control. And this idea is backed up by other researchers too. This quote says it all. A well-managed risk perception actually helps make the trip feel more memorable and stimulating. Why? Because you've already faced the challenges and solved them in your head before you even leave home. Okay, so this is a really cool psychological twist, for sure. But what's the big takeaway here? Why does this matter for you as a traveler? And honestly, for the entire travel industry? Well, for us travelers, it totally reframes what we're doing in that review rabbit hole. You're not just hunting for perfection, you're arming yourself with intel so you feel prepared. And for the travel industry, the lesson is huge. Don't try to hide or delete negative comments. Being transparent actually builds trust.
Acknowledging the little things and letting real reviews flow empowers your customers and, surprisingly, makes them more likely to book.
So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're deep in those reviews and you hit a bad one, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this review scaring me off? Or is it just giving me the information I need to be a smarter, more prepared traveler? The answer might actually surprise you.